It's Kevin Keatsman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
I cannot believe I just told that story. I'm not apologizing for it. I'm just, what was the thing we heard the other day? We have to take self-inventory or something? My self-inventory.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what it was?
It was the marriage inventory, right?
Yeah, or personal something self-inventory.
Yeah.
My self-inventory right now is I can't believe I told that story. But I did. If you missed it, you'll have to go listen to the podcast part of the last segment there of Mundo in the Morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio, 95.7 FM. I'm Kevin Keatsman. We're here over the next hour leading up to the Vince Show. We got a lot of great topics today, a whole bunch of little things going on. We're going to try to get to a bunch of them on the show today, not the least of which is 277,000 Chinese nationals are in college in our country. 277,000. And Marco Rubio and the State Department are going to do something about this. They are about to start revoking these visas from these folks and getting them home because most of that is up to no good. It's also a big slick weekend. We'll check in and ask Mark. You got a little while to prepare for this one, Mark. I'm going to ask you your favorite actor of the big slick group or your favorite movie or show that one of them was in. Any of those. But I've got my favorite ready to go, and we'll find out what his is as well, because Kansas City is a cool place filled with celebrities and all kinds of awesome news. One of the big stories that has happened over the last few months has been Elon Musk venturing off into politics, walking away from Tesla as his primary business and campaigning for Donald Trump, getting him elected, being part of the transition, starting up DOGE, and saving what they're now saying is almost $200 billion. Which is a great start. The big beautiful question here, because the big beautiful now seems to be the new Trump term, the left media are saying the bromance is over, that they've broken up and they don't like each other because Elon Musk is down on the big beautiful bill. A lot of conservatives are down on the big beautiful bill, that it did not cut enough spending. Trump and Elon Musk will have a news conference today together in the Oval Office. This is one of those Q&A sessions, and they're going to be there. This is the last day of Elon Musk as the special government employee. Is it 150 days or 130 days? There's a certain number of days that you can be a special government employee. Then you'd have to be made part of his cabinet. Well, he's not going to do that. So Musk has to leave, but says he will still work part-time with DOGE, that he thinks he's got it set up and they know what they're doing and they're up and running. At the same time, Tesla shareholders are asking Elon Musk, I don't think they can make him, but they're asking him to work 40 hours a week for Tesla. And I think that's right for shareholders of Tesla. You should probably want that from Elon Musk with the compensation package that he gets there. I don't know anybody that really has a problem with him going and doing what he's done here unless you're just flat against the politics of it. He didn't hurt any of his companies. Yes, there were people on the left saying we're not going to buy Teslas anymore, but their stock has rebounded. The company's doing fine. They are the electric vehicle in the world. I mean, they crush every other brand of electrical vehicle in the world, so they're plugging along right. The question I thought was, this would be a good time to ask the question and ask you, if you want to chime in and call me and let me know what you think. Is DOGE or was DOGE a success? Do you think it's over now that he's gone? Do you think this will stay long-term for 4 years and they'll keep finding things and they will eventually get to $1 trillion, which was the goal? Or is this it? Elon Musk isn't there. The muscle isn't behind it, and they didn't cut as much as they thought they could cut. So much of what they found is back in the big, beautiful bill. I've read in the big, beautiful bill that there's money for USAID. And the plan is go ahead and pass that because you got Democrats on board or whatever. You got Rhino Republicans on board. Go ahead and get it through, and then they can go back in and through executive power and Congress, the majority voting, can take funding out of even what's in the big, beautiful bill. There are procedures for that. It's little used. It's little known. But there are all kinds of people saying that that's the plan. And if that's the plan, they might be able to find $200, $300, $400, $500 billion more dollars to cut out of what we spend this year. I hoped for a long period of time and mentioned on my podcast over the last 4 years that the perfect scenario would not be, remember we went through this, everybody wanted Ron DeSantis to be the next president. Then it was this guy or that guy. Even conservatives were like, not Trump. I'm like, no, Trump is the one. You want Trump to win. Now, I can't assure you that he's going to win, but if he does, This is going to be a revolution in this country. He's going to do things that no other president would ever do, and certainly not a president that would be up for re-election in 4 years. That is true, but this is a good day to ask if you're disappointed, or maybe on a scale of 1 to 10 how you rate it. So I was expecting a 9. It shot out of the cannon like a 9. It was a 9 for quite some time, but as we view this now, 130 days past or whatever it is at this point, as we view it behind us, I'm probably more down to like a 6. And it's not because the Democrats are standing in the way of the roadblocks. It's because Republicans are. There are just too many Republicans that have not figured out this is Trump's party, and that even Americans that are not particularly engaged support these policies. They support them overwhelmingly. When was the last time you ran into somebody that said they think the government needs to spend more money? I don't think I've ever met that person unless they're running for office as a Democrat. That's literally it. That's where it starts and ends. You may find somebody that has an issue, like I want more money for Planned Parenthood because I'm in favor of abortion. You might find people who have an issue and say they want more money for that. But if you just ask the question, do you think government should spend more or spend less? That's a 90-some% issue. Everybody thinks the government spends too much money. So I don't understand why more hasn't been cut. $175 billion is a win. Now, I've done a couple of monologues over the last few weeks of we got to take our wins where they are. DOGE has been a win, but it's kind of like a Royals win. When the Royals win, it's not that satisfying. They win 2-1 or 3-2, and they leave you on the edge of your seat the entire game, and you walk away from it going, well, they really pitched well tonight, and then that's about all you have good to say. You know, this has been a great pitch. DOGE has been an outstanding idea and plan, and I hope it's here to stay. It may not be. Another president may come in from a different party in 4 years and crumble the whole thing down and put everything back in place. I don't know the movements of the federal government well enough to know exactly what would happen over time. But I hope they keep working. I hope this is just a start. And I hope a year from now, maybe we're sitting here on a Friday afternoon going, okay, it's been over a year. Looky here. We're getting close to $1 trillion in savings from things DOGE has found or things Republicans have done by cutting spending. It has to be everybody. This has to be all hands on deck. It can't just be Elon Musk. And it feels like to this point, that's all it's been is Elon Musk. What can Elon do? What can Elon do? You know, I used to love a very conservative idea. It was called a penny plan. And they said if the United States government cut 1 penny out of every dollar they spend, and we did that for 5 years or something like that, you'd fix the deficit. It would just be gone. If you cut 1%, 1% doesn't sound like much, but if you cut that 1% and then didn't add to the budget every year, but instead, let's say over 7 years, now you're down 7% from where you were 7 years ago. You never add anything. You stick to a budget. I personally think there should be a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution, and that the absolute right of the American public is that their elected officials cannot spend more than they have. I just don't know why we allow this to happen. But the penny plan sounded really interesting to me. We're going to cut by 1% every year for 7 years. And then after 7 years, the economy will have grown. They'll be taking all this money in. We won't have deficit spending, and we'll fix our problems. There's a lot of different ways to do it, a lot of things we've heard of, but nobody's really figured it out yet. And DOGE didn't seem to completely untangle what is a big, giant, snarled government. The deep state fights back, and they play dirty. They play hardball. This has been really, really difficult to get this spending cut. And Congress is a messy place. It's a lot of people from a lot of places that want to cut government spending, but they don't want their district cut. They don't want their thing to go away. And everybody has a thing. It's democracy. It's the best we can do. I was hoping for more. And I think you're going to hear on the left say, well, Elon Musk was a failure. He didn't cut much. What he did cut was terrible. It's going to kill us. It's going to, you're going to die because of what Elon Musk did. I don't think that's right either. I don't think that's right. I think we have to give this more time. Hopefully from afar, Musk will stay involved in this. Trump will put his thumbs on these people and say, let's go, cut more, cut more, cut more. Find it somewhere. Get rid of it. Add it all up. But today's that big day, and it'll be interesting to see that news conference a bit later on. 913-408-7957 is the phone number to call. If you'd like to join the discussion, I'd love to hear your thoughts on DOGE. Was it a hit or a miss? 913-408-7957. You're listening to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. Did you see the chief of staff to Donald Trump, Susie Wiles, had her phone hacked? This is terrifying. They got some sort of a profile of her phone. She didn't lose it or anything like that. They got into it, and then they regenerated her voice using AI and started calling some of the most important people in the world as her. This is terrifying that happened. They quickly figured it out that the AI Susie Wiles was asking questions that Susie Wiles would know the answer to and got back to her. And they've notified like everybody they know it was an unknown number. If it doesn't come from this number, it's not real. That's crazy. They think it was domestic, not international, another country doing that. But it's probably going to be more on that story coming out in the next few days. Let's go to the phones on our topic of DOGE. Jerry is in Olathe and has a comment or two. Hello, Jerry. How are you this morning?
Morning, Kevin. I'm just fine. Listen, Washington's like a rock. If you don't push it, it doesn't move. And Musk is the guy he's the horsepower behind all of this. When he's gone, he may come back part-time, but I don't think anything's going to happen once he's gone. That's just my opinion. As sad as that is, they're not used to having money taken out of their pocket. And when the sheriff's gone, God knows what'll happen. So that's just my opinion.
So I wonder
That's terrible.
Do you think Trump needs to appoint somebody to that position? Almost like a cabinet position, find somebody perfect to take over. Elon would never take that position and do that. He's too busy. But there's got to be somebody out there that's really hawkish on spending and really good at what they do that you could put in charge of this thing and say, okay, Elon set it up. I'm going to go in here and keep on these guys. Because when we've seen this collection of, they sort of playfully call themselves nerds, the DOGE nerds. When we see them, it doesn't look like there's a real leader in that room other than Elon. So do you think Trump should assign somebody to that?
Absolutely. Yeah, every pack needs a leader. The guys who are sitting around Musk will certainly follow whoever's there as long as he's sort of proves himself that he's got the horsepower to get things done. And that's a great question. I'm not terribly sure who the candidates are out there that would fit that, but somebody's got to grab the baton and keep running with it, because it'll go nowhere. You sit there and watch your money go out the window, and it's just frustrating, And Kevin, I'm so old I don't buy green bananas, so I'm not terribly sure how long I'm going to be around much longer. But I want somebody to be fighting for you. That's all. You want somebody to say, "Hey, I give a hoot. Let's try to get these people's money back." And so that's just how it is.
Jerry, I can tell by your passion and your energy you're going to be around for a lot of years, buddy. You ain't going nowhere. Jerry is going nowhere. I don't think he's that old. He's certainly got a lot of energy and voiced a great opinion there. And I'm on board with him. I agree with it. Here is John in Lewisburg. Good morning, John. Welcome to Uncanceled.
Yeah, Kevin. Well, I think the cabinet appointment ought to be big balls. I think Elon Musk has exposed the waste, and it's time for big balls to be made part of the cabinet.
Well, that's interesting. He's very young. Somebody needs to lead the thing. I think his role, we know what his role has been, and he's been really good at it. But what do we know about a leadership style? If somebody's going to take over for Elon, it needs to be I think it should be somebody with leadership experience. Don't you think?
Well, you know what? I'm starting not to second guess this Gen Z generation. And make big balls part of your cabinet.
Okay. Did you say you're starting?
He would have the apprenticeship underneath Elon.
Yeah. No doubt. You're saying you're starting to not be upset with Gen Z?
Oh no, not at all.
Okay, so you think this is it? You think they've got this? You're encouraged that Gen Z's got this?
Yes, I think Gen Z is going to be the young group that comes up and is destroying all the crap that's going on in government.
That'd be pretty cool. They are swinging right. There are all kinds of indications that Gen Z is swinging right. So, that's a great place to start. And look, we're a big country, and America has always bred great leaders, entrepreneurs, inventors. Exceptional people are born every single day in this country. We're not going to have a shortage of exceptional people. We may, as a society, have become generally slackers and people who don't have to work very hard to get by or whatever. We're always going to have exceptional people in America. I'm not worried about that at all.
Yeah. When you think back to some of our founding fathers, Jefferson, what was he, 21?
Right. Yes.
My goodness.
And the great Brett Saberhagen debuted at the Royals when he was 19. It can be done. Jessica was watching the other night, Mark, saying, this pitcher for Cincinnati's only 25. I said, he's older than Bobby Witt. She's like, what? I said, Brett Saberhagen came up when he was 19.
Yeah, that's crazy.
When you're great, you can do it. If big balls is great, maybe you can handle it at a young age. Who knows? All right, here is Dutch in Platte City. Hi, Dutch. How are you? Oh, I got it wrong. This is John in Topeka. John, go ahead.
Hey, good morning. One of the cuts that I just found out about that they're making is that you ever heard of the Job Corps?
Yes, sir.
Well, they're cutting the Job Corps down. I'm not sure if it's all nationwide, but I know Excelsior Springs, they're shutting the whole thing down, and that's hitting kids that can't afford college, can't afford trade school, don't know what they're doing with their lives, that have no leadership or confidence in anything, and they're actually teaching them how to live life and move forward, and here's a trade and a skill, and they're shutting it all down. And the kids are I got a phone call last night, and they're all freaking out. Well, my stepson's freaking out. He said everybody's freaking out, not knowing what's going to happen and what they're going to do. And he said June 30th, it's over.
Well, Trump says he's taken $5 billion from Harvard and given it to the trades. I think there's going to be a whole bunch of movement and shift from the federal government sending it to universities to programs like you're talking about. It's going to go to actual trade schools to develop more skilled workers in this country. At least that's what he says he's going to do.
Well, that's the thing is that right now they said they're getting shut down. They said find a place to go by June 30th because everybody's gone at the Job Corps. And so then that's just not here in local. That's nationwide.
Yeah,
so you're looking at hundreds of thousands of kids that are between 18 and 24 that were structured and being pushed forward into something that now just being dumped out there with nothing.
It would be unfair for me to comment on the Job Corps, but I'm going to research it later today. It sounds to me like if that's what's going on, there's something leftist about it.
Yeah, well, I don't know what's going on with it either, but I was like, of all the things to cut the spending, I mean, they could say, hey, tighten up your belt, guys.
Yeah.
You need to tighten up your belt. That'd be one thing, but just to say we're cutting you all off.
Right.
And, I was like, wait a second, hold on here. I'm MAG all the way. You know me. I'm like red-blooded, red, flag, everything, but that this is a bunch of kids, and these are the kids that are most vulnerable.
All right.
Parents of both of them, you know what I'm saying. Anyway.
Good call, buddy. I appreciate it. We'll look into that. I don't know much about the Job Corps, but it sounds like something good to look into. Here is Dutch in Platte City. Sorry about that, Dutch. How are you?
Hey, not a problem. I've been confused on the weekend myself. I'm doing well. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Just a real quick thought on the leadership thing in a herd. A bit of a history buff, and what I know about moving cattle from my farm experience. If you want cows to move, you get one that's kind of a leader and everybody follows. If you take that leader cow and move it back into the herd somewhere, the whole herd will turn around behind it and get in line and follow that leader. If you want a new leader to step up, you got to take that lead cow out. So we don't know who that second in command may be, and we won't know until Elon moves out of the way. And there may very well be some cream on that crop that will rise up of its own accord just because of the nature of the way groups work.
I love it. Outstanding call. That's an outstanding analogy. That's beautiful. Thank you, Dutch. Appreciate you calling in. KCMO's Uncanceled airs every day right here leading up to the Vince Show at 11 o'clock. We're back after the news. 277,000 Chinese students have invaded America. Okay, the caller was right about the Jobs Corps closing down by June 30th, and I've just looked up the official release that they put out regarding this. It lost $144 million last year. It's running at a deficit. It is scheduled to lose $213 million this year, and it's not working, according to your new federal government and the president's office. This operation has a graduation rate of 38%. The average cost per student in the Jobs Corps is almost $81,000. Yeah, that's a program that needs to end. Average total cost per graduate, $156,000. That's your federal dollars to graduate through the Jobs Corps program. They had 14,913 serious infractions in 2023 that included inappropriate sexual behavior and sexual assaults, acts of violence, breaches of safety and security, drug use, and hospital visits. Whoa. These things are contracted out to local companies to execute this, and it seems the program is not working. Here is Steve on KCMO Radio. Hi, Steve.
Kevin, I appreciate what you just said. The Job Corps has been a scourge on Excelsior Springs. Excelsior Springs was a beautiful little resort town just outside of Kansas City, and then they brought in the Job Corps. And with those kids came drugs, promiscuous sex, all kinds of problems that the inner city brought out to Excelsior Springs. It needs to be closed down. It has absolutely the rate of illegitimacy has risen in Excelsior Springs as a result. The rate of drug use and drug abuse has risen as a result. And we need to get these kind of these kinds of organizations out of these towns so they can have what they really, what those people wanted for their children, and not to have that kind of influence. So I appreciate your commentary there and your. And by the way, all of the builders, you go to a builders association or any of the unions, these kids can get in, become apprentices in almost any trade, welder, operating engineer, carpenter, millwright, pipe fitter. There's all kinds of opportunities, and they make great money, and they will be trained on the job. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, and what we're saying is one of our core beliefs. The private sector can do it better than the government.
Absolutely, 100%.
And these are government contracts going out to local areas where they implement it themselves, and they don't implement it very well.
Not only that, but most of the staff are worthless. These people that are living off government largesse. Yeah. They're not doing a good job. They're not doing their job. They're taking advantage of these kids in many cases. It's disgusting.
Well, I really appreciated the gentleman's call a little while ago for informing us about this and understand that this does affect good people. There are going to be people that lose their jobs over this, but that's kind of what DOGE and the Trump presidency is all about. They'll have to find a way to go do what it is that they do somewhere in the private sector. Thanks for the call, if this thing's losing $213 million a year, that's the deficit. If it's losing, how much is the whole program? I mean, what's their budget? $1 billion? If it's losing $213 million, they're running at a deficit. So, add that to the DOGE list, right? That's stunning. 38% graduation rate is not good, and the average cost per student of almost $81,000, and the average cost per graduate at $156,000. That's government waste. That is, and again, it's like everything else we talk about. It's terrible. If you lose your job, it's terrible. We got small businesses out there dealing with China tariffs that it's terrible for. There's a lot of things like that happening. And if we're going to be serious about this, and I spoke about this at the start of the show today, you may be disappointed in DOGE that it's only just under $200 billion that they've saved. That may be a disappointment at this moment. But if we're really serious about it, there's going to be pain. People are going to lose their jobs. We're going to close things down. This government is too big. And I'm not in any way concerned about Donald Trump creating jobs. There's going to be jobs available for people. If your government job is ending, there's jobs available. I'm not worried about it. Look, I work in an industry that's shrinking. There are fewer employees per radio station in America now than there have been in decades. It's just the way it is. Everybody's getting leaner. Every business is getting a little tighter. But we're expanding the economy. We're finding new businesses. New things are happening every single day. We're expanding. Young people are getting into careers that older people never even thought of. There's new things to do. That's part of the genius of America. We're creative. We invent the greatest things that mankind has ever known or used or tasted. We're really, really good at this. It's not some happenstance that great ideas are born in America and great ideas are executed in America. It's not some sort of random thing. It's who and what we are, and have continued to be even with this big bloated government. So yes, there will be pain. People will lose jobs. Most people listening right now have lost a job a time or two. You deal with it, you move on, you go find another. And I could probably dig more into the Jobs Corps, but reading their report, it's pretty clear this was a big bloated government agency that had no oversight. They've overspent, they've been deficit spending, and they're not particularly successful. When that happens, You get rid of it. And in the release that they put out, they said, we are committed to finding ways to ensure young people have an ability to go work and be successful in what it is that they do. But this isn't it. This program is just flat not working. And if a government program is flat not working, for me, again, I appreciate the gentleman's call, and I appreciate the fact that some people are affected by this. But the big picture here is our government's too big, and we spend too much money in too many places. And it sounds like maybe the Jobs Corps is another one of those places that we have heard nothing about. But it sounds like it's going to affect a lot of people in a lot of communities when it ends and ceases its operations by June 30th, which is what it sounds like it's going to be there. June 30th will be the end of that. All right, here is Tom in Paola. Hi, Tom. How are you today?
Hey, man, what's up?
Not much.
So as I was telling Mark a little bit ago, my son went to Jobs Corps out of Manhattan. I want to say about 10 years ago, and it could be a little bit long, a little bit shorter. Time gets away from him. But anyway, he was out of Manhattan, and kind of went through a orientation program with him with the parents. And, you know, they're going to land, you know, talk about some of the rules and stuff, do's and don'ts, and no relationships, or, you know, you can't do it. Just happened to look behind the sofa we were sitting in, and there was, we'll call it a sex toy at that, and we'll leave it at that. And I brought it to the lady's attention, and she about had a conniption. But anyway, if you remember, there was a kid who got charged. It made national news. He actually got onto Fort Riley base, tried to bomb the Fort Riley base.
Okay, yeah.
If you remember that story, that kid actually went to school with my son in the Jobs Corps.
Okay.
But my point is
it wasn't working. I think your point is it wasn't working.
well, it did for my son, but he was probably one of the few that actually made it work. And I think that's just because... Well,
he would have made his life work either way with the Jobs Corps or without it sounds like.
Yeah, well, it's because he has, you know, we had his foot up his butt too, and he knew better. But a lot of kids out there just didn't have that.
All right, Tom. Thanks for your call, buddy. I appreciate that. Yeah. I don't know what the toy on the couch had to do with the story, but I think he was just pointing out that, look, the Jobs Corps run amok.
Yeah, just a roundabout way to get there.
Yeah. Jobs Corps run amok. We've got sex toys on the sofa at the Jobs Corps. You know what? The Jobs Corps is better than 277,000 Chinese students. I was shocked by this number. Marco Rubio went on a rampage yesterday. He says, we're slashing the visas from China. We've got to get serious about this, that they're developing espionage, communism, and up to basically no good. 277,000 Chinese national students in America is a massive number, and obviously the colleges and universities love them because they love their politics, they love who they are, and they love their money. They're like, these are the rich kids from China coming over to American colleges and a lot of high-end colleges. Here's the craziest part of this number. 277,000 Chinese are here studying. 800 Americans are studying in China. 277,000 to 800. If that isn't the perfect analysis of the trade deficit with China, I don't know what is. I mean, every one of these things we're turning up now, we look at these countries, it's all skewed. We're too damn nice in this country. We just let anybody come in for any reason, hang out as long as they're on, sure, we got a visa. You want to be a student, you got a visa. You want to work, we'll get you a visa. You want to do this? Yeah, just let everybody in. If we just pare this thing down, and the Trump administration announced yesterday they're going to double, they want to double the daily number of deportations from where it's been. I think they were doing about 1,800 a day, and they want to get to 3,500 a day. Well, that's going to be a big number pretty fast. You start deporting 3,500 people from this country every single day, we're going to get some big numbers pretty fast. Not as fast as they were coming in, but that's going to add up pretty quickly to a really, really, really nice number. And so you're encouraged by these things, but I also love the fact that there's just so many things we're learning we've never known before. Did you know there were almost 300,000 Chinese students in this country, and why? Why would we need them? Other than the colleges and universities want the money. Obviously, they love that. Well, this is all stuff that got bloated by the left. You know it is. Every single one of these things is something that the left did to try to completely change and destroy what we think of as traditional constitutional America. And that's where our hearts lie. We want good things for this great land. We love our history. We love our traditions. Has America made mistakes? Of course. Yes. The whole world has. Humans make mistakes. Of course, we've done some things wrong. That doesn't. It's a fraction of the great things this country has done, not just for her own people, but for people all over the world. We're good people. We have it right. There's no reason to try to break down what works. We have an unbelievable constitution and system in this country. It certainly has flaws, and we have bad days and bad years. But my goodness, we're the last great hope for any of this stuff. The last thing we need is just bring people in and let them run wild and do whatever. We've gotten so big we can't count them. We don't know where they are. We can't account for them. We don't know how to get them back home. But slowing down the number of foreign students is a great idea, and I'm sorry if our universities' enrollment will decline, and they'll have some financial stress. And if you don't fix your DEI initiatives, Trump's going to take your money. Or if you're anti-Semitic, he's going to take your money. Good luck in court. Was it legit? There's $5 billion going to Harvard every year from the federal government. That means you and I are on the hook for $5 billion to Harvard? It's insane. This stuff's out of control, completely out of control. And Marco Rubio's right. Ratchet up, get those visas, and get these students out of here. Find out who the troublemakers are and get them the heck out any which way you can. 913-408-7957, the number to call if you'd like to join us. We got some fun with Mark next. We're going to talk Big Slick. Kansas City's so cool. We got celebrities everywhere. We're going to find out what Mark's favorite celebrity is this weekend or favorite movie or TV show that one of these celebrities was in. That's next on Uncanceled. We can even count Taylor Swift as a Kansas City celebrity because it sounds like by reports they might be getting engaged. And if they are and Travis Kelce keeps playing football, she's going to be living here a lot more than anywhere else if she's going to live with her husband. And Mark Van Sickle has breaking Taylor Swift news today. What is going on?
Breaking news out of the Taylor Swift camp. She now officially owns all of her music. And that's been a 20-year-long process. She's been trying to get it back, and she has the rights to her music videos, her concert films, her photography, unreleased songs, and everything that's been printed to this point.
Yeah. So singers and football players have one thing in common. Every singer is dying for the day to sign with a record label and allow them to own their music just to get paid. Then when they become successful, they hate the record company and want to get rid of them. Football players, every player that ever played high school or college football would dream of the day to be so good they'd get the franchise tag. And then they get the franchise tag and they hate it.
Like, no,
I don't want the franchise tag.
Deal.
That's a bad deal. I don't want this franchise tag. So Taylor Swift's music, she didn't own it when she started out, right? It got sold, I believe, to a company or partially or fully by George Soros, the political activist on the left, right? And she's in the same party. Like the people that screwed her over were all leftists. That's the industry, right? And she felt like they screwed her over. She re-recorded every single song. Do I have this right?
She had one more album left to do that she hadn't done yet.
Okay.
So in this letter that she wrote today, she said she hasn't recorded those songs yet, but she might in the future.
Then she asked her billions of fans, whatever, to never listen to the other recordings, to only play Taylor's version.
Yep.
So she'd make the money. Boy, that's brassy.
Yeah.
Tell your fans, I want the money, not them.
Yep.
And they all just lined up and did it, right? They all downloaded the Taylor's version.
Oh, yeah.
Now she's purchased back the old music because she was successful. Nobody was listening to those versions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't worth as much.
Exactly.
So Soros or whoever owned them, they cut their losses and took the money from Taylor, and she has them all. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. All right, Big Slick Weekend. Do you have a favorite celebrity or movie or TV show?
Oh, man. It's hard to ignore Cam from Modern Family.
Really?
That's
it.
I've never seen a guy like Eric Stonestreet who's straight. I didn't know until season 5 that he was actually straight. He played such a good gay guy that I thought he was actually gay.
Okay.
It was incredible.
That's fantastic. So I wouldn't have guessed Stonestreet. I got to go with Ted Lasso as my favorite thing any of them have done.
That's great, too. Yeah.
I like Modern Family, and I've seen the Ant-Man movies and some of these other, Paul Rudd's. I think, is Rudd the most famous or is Sudeikis the most famous?
They're both up there. I mean, Anchorman with Paul Rudd was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of good ones.
Paul Rudd is way older than he looks. He was in Friends.
That's right.
Did you know he was in Friends?
Yeah.
He was a boyfriend of Phoebe's boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. How was that, like the 90s?
Yeah.
How old is Paul Rudd? We got one to look up here, man.
Yeah.
They've done such a great thing. So when I was a kid, we would have some celebrities, some people from Kansas City would be sort of famous, but they'd never come home. You know, like I think Steven Spielberg's wife is from Kansas City or something. She was in the movies. Is it Kate Capshaw? Is that her name, from KCK? She went to Hollywood, never came home. I've never heard of her coming to town doing it. Like, what I love about this generation of people that made it big from here, they want to come back and be part of this town. They want to come back, and Children's Mercy obviously is, you know, they've raised a lot of money for Children's Mercy Hospital. That's great, and that's what it's all about. But really, these dudes love doing this for this town. I think they know they're providing something that's a quality of life thing in Kansas City and a civic pride thing in Kansas City that, hey, we're pretty darn cool. We're a lot cooler than St. Louis, man. It's not even close.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the theme of our shows this whole month of May, hasn't it been?
Yeah.
We're better than St. Louis.
It's true.
Paul
Paul
true.
Rudd is 56 years old, by the way.
56 years old.
He looks like he's probably 36.
He's still playing a lead in superhero movies, right?
Yeah.
Is he Ant-Man? Is that what he is? Ant-Man.
Yeah, he's Ant-Man.
Yeah. I don't see the comic book movies very often, but I've seen that one come across. Paul Rudd, everything he does, he's just likable. He's just likable in everything that he does. So I hope they have a great weekend and raise a whole bunch of money. The Chrisleys are back on TV. I don't know if anybody in this audience watched the Chrisleys. They went to jail. Todd and Julie Chrisley, they had a show, Chrisleys Know Best. And they went to jail for some kind of a bank fraud thing, and they were basically over-sentenced. They've been in jail for 3 years. That's long enough. Trump pardoned them. That was supposedly longer than their sentence should have been, but they got sentenced to like 7 and 10 years. They were already starting a new show called The Chrisley Project that was going to be on Lifetime. It was going to be without them because the jail wouldn't let them come in and film them in jail. It was the rest of their family and how they were coping with the Chrisleys in jail, and it's set to debut like in September. So they've been filming this for months, but now they're like, wow, we got this whole saga of them getting released.
The season finale is going to be epic.
It's going to be great. It's going to build to a crescendo where they get out. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're more famous now because of Trump and people will watch. We're to assume they're all MAGA. I know the daughter is. She was wearing a MAGA hat when she did her little press release, so I guess that's the case. What do you think happened with Jake Tapper's ratings with all this attention he's getting?
I mean, I know the left hates him now even more, and the right still hates him, so probably terrible.
You nailed it. Most people would think you go on a book tour and you get this much attention, your ratings are going up. Jake Tapper's ratings down 25% from May of last year. It is the lowest rate. What's the name of his show? I don't even know the name of his show.
I don't even know either.
Okay, so Tapper's got a show on CNN. It's his lowest rated month since 2015. The guy is everywhere, but now his own fans hate him because he's outed the party for as despicable as they are. That says a lot about the people that watched him, doesn't it? That you've been shown stone cold dead corruption and you're mad at the guy who's talking about it and not going to watch him anymore. Crazy. Have a great weekend, Mark. John, the whole team here, you guys have a great weekend. This is Uncanceled. The Vince Show is coming up next on KCMO Talk Radio.